Hello there, welcome back to the weekly video, the market outlook on the Dow, S&P 500, Nasdaq, STI, and Hang Seng. Okay, so we are going to, as usual, take a look how the market has performed, the indices, how they had moved, and then what are the next possible movement for next week as we approach December. And then, of course, what to look out for this upcoming week that may be affecting the market movement. So without further ado, let's start with the Dow Jones. As you can see from the Dow, what we have here is that the Dow managed to continue its uptrend as last week anticipated higher low forms up. The Dow broke out from this resistance at 34,000 and then continue higher to hit above this resistance at 34,288. During the week, you can see that on the first day of trading here, which is a black candle, the market attempt to sell down or start the selling, but there were no follow through. In fact, it was a weak selling. So the testing of the bear failed, and which is the success for the bull. As you can see, the next day we have a strong buy-up action where it pushed the index back to its resistance and broke up from there. So the next key resistance is 35,378 for the Dow. As you can see, this is a major resistance which was tested twice. So if next week is bullish, we may be able to see this resistance get tested. Then there might be some weakness after this resistance is tested. S&P 500, we are looking at a strong S&P 500 performance last week. Similar to the Dow, we can see the start of the week, there was some test, and this test was to check whether is there any underlying seller. In fact, the selling was weak, so the index was managed to rebound up to strongly push the index back to its resistance level and the projected level over here at 4,033. So we have a higher low form up already. Next is that if the index can break out from 4,033, then we have an uptrend, and the next resistance at 4,020 may be tested for the uptrend to continue. Next, we have Nasdaq. So Nasdaq is the weakest performing index in the US market as the market wobbles and not sure about the performance or the future of the tech as inflation numbers remain high. What we can see that on Monday, there was some follow-up selling from the last Friday week closing. But the good thing is that the follow-through selling was weak and the index was able to hold at this 11,000 point psychological level. And there was a strong rebound on Tuesday to push the index back up on Wednesday, back above this high. So this high is a crucial high to look out for, because if this high is not tested or compromised, the index can still form a lower high and go down further. So you can see that the index actually broke up from this high, but Friday's performance was a weak one. So we see some lower closing, but the glimmer of hope is that since we have this high compromise, if the index can't break out again or move higher back above 11,311, then we may see an uptrend start to form up, because this will be actually a higher low, and we need the index to retest 11,494 in order to continue higher. So all eyes will be on the inflation data next week, which I'm going to talk about later on as I summarize the video. Now we move to STI. So we have STI uptrend channel line, you can see over here. So on Monday, STI had some selling and it broke the channel. So this channel no longer intact. As I mentioned, as it breaks below this channel, there could be a change of trend. So we have this form up now, which we're going to watch next week very closely. we see the high and the lower high. And the index on Friday attempt to break this low over here. And this is a very crucial fight back to close above. Because if it had closed below to this level at 3,200 points, then we have a lower high confirmed and a downtrend may be on its way. So next week will be important because the hammer pattern that was formed on Friday needs a confirmation, and then the index must go back to this high again at 3,285 in order to turn to sideways. At least, at the very least, this is the best that it can go for now. Unless there is a strong breakout back to 3,307, then the uptrend can resume. So next week, what we are looking at is that if we have a strong upward movement to resistance to high at 3,285, then this can provide a glimmer of hope for some positive movement at least, or if not, then we have some sideways coming in. Now, if breaking this low, especially this particular low at 3,232, then we may have a downtrend, especially there is a gap over here waiting to be filled. Usually gap like black hole, it tends to attract candles of levels to go into the hole to fill it up. So we have a huge gap over here waiting to be filled. Now, case in point, just for example, over here, see the gaps are filled. The gaps are filled, and some gap that are filled would suggest more bearishness ahead. Some gap that once it is filled, then we see some upside coming in. So which we cannot draw a conclusion right now, but then we need this index to show us more signs. So in this case, for the gap to be filled, over here, the first sign will be bearishness, but then going forward, we have to see, like I say, we cannot tell whether it will continue to go down or it will turn back up. But the most important thing is what happens after the gap has been filled. All right, so it's a very important things to look out for next week. Hang Seng, we see some struggle over here as the index failed to rebound from this low. For the whole week, we have a lower opening. So you can see Monday it gapped down and then it consolidated within a tight range throughout the week. So this is a 50-50 action, especially you can see the gap holds as the index refused to free up this gap. And if it repeats the same thing like this, it refuses to fill up this gap at that moment of time where it just goes down and then it went down further. So if this repeats, then we may see some downside. So the reports from the China industrial profit wasn't that good. Okay, so the industrial profit was down. So we have to see whether is there any stimulus action coming in, more stimulus action coming in to help the economy, China economy to go up. Another thing to probably help to smoothen the situation or the tensions between the China and Taiwan or the market, for the market, okay, is that Taiwan, the KMT party has won most of the midterm election seats, and then this may help to ease the tension between China and Taiwan, and that can help the market as well. So what we are looking forward is that if these good signs are considered in the market, then this gap will be filled up, and we have 18,421 to be tested. Okay, so just now I just shift the line to show you the gap. Okay, so then after the gap is filled, then we have 18,421 to be filled, okay, or to be tested in order for the uptrend to continue. Okay, so next week, what are we looking at? So wrapping up from for the video. So next week we have some key information to look out for. So the FOMC member speaks, and that will give us some clue about the projection for the interest rate. The consumer confidence level in November. Black Friday has just gone past, and then there's some increased record numbers of sales because of the lower price. So as you can see, the consumers are waiting for the inflation to go down in order to spend more. So this may be a good sign. And we have China PMI coming in, and the US GDP. And the most important thing that we are looking at next week is Thursday. We have the core PCE data. This is one of the inflation indicator. And then followed by non-farm payroll on Friday. So next Friday or next Thursday, we'll cross into the month of December. And let's hope that the market continue its rally. So with this, thank you for viewing this 6th video. I will see you again.